All right, so we're going to get into it. This match
Okay.
really, really showed everyone why Australia is at the top of their game right now.
Yeah.
Women's T20 World Cup, Australia versus New Zealand.
Definitely solidified that idea of Australia being at the top, I think, going into this tournament.
Right.
A lot of people thought that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone was excited for this match, especially because both these teams won their opening matches.
It did, yeah. And they won them quite convincingly, I thought, as well.
Yes.
Which, when you've got such a strong group,
Mm.
like that makes every single game feel like it's a must win.
Oh, absolutely.
So to have Australia come out
Right.
and make that kind of statement in this game, I think really just underlines their dominance, I suppose.
Yeah, and the way they're approaching this tournament,
Yeah.
we're going to break down exactly how they did it. We've got the commentary highlights.
Okay.
We've got some juicy stats, some post-match analysis,
Love it.
player reactions, all that good stuff.
I do want to say one thing just before we get into the nitty-gritty.
Yep.
For anyone out there thinking, oh, it's just New Zealand.
Yeah.
New Zealand are a serious team.
Right.
They are very good. And to have Australia
Yeah.
sort of, I suppose, outclass them in the way they did, I think that's what's really fascinating.
Absolutely. So let's get into it. Australia wins the toss
Okay.
and elects to bat first.
Unsurprisingly, I would say, I think we saw even at that early stage of the tournament that chasing seemed to be quite difficult on these pitches.
Right.
So a smart move, I think, from Healy and the team.
Yeah. They put up a huge total, 148 runs, the highest we had seen at that point, at that Sharjah venue.
It's massive.
Yeah.
And I think what makes it even more impressive is considering that Sharjah pitch, it's notoriously slow,
Right.
a low bounce, and that kind of pitch generally favors bowlers, particularly spin bowlers.
Of course.
So for them to go out there and put up that total is a masterclass in how to build an innings.
Absolutely. Alyssa Healy, just
Yeah.
incredible in this match.
She did.
She was on fire.
She was on fire.
Top of the scorecard for Australia.
Yeah.
And she hit a career milestone in this match.
Let's talk about Alyssa Healy because I think you can't overstate her impact on this game.
Right. And she just dominated from the very first ball.
Yeah.
It felt like she was just always in control and putting New Zealand on the back foot immediately.
That's what she does so well, and that's why she's such a threat.
Uh-huh.
I think it's not even just the runs that she scores, it's that psychological impact that she has on the opposition.
Right.
The bowlers know they can't relax for a single second when she's at the crease.
Yeah, she made it look so easy as well.
She did, yeah.
But, no one can bat forever. New Zealand eventually does get the breakthrough when Healy is dismissed.
Yeah.
And I feel like that kind of shifted the momentum just a little bit.
It did, because you're right, it gave New Zealand a little bit of an opening.
Yeah.
And they were smart enough to capitalize on that, and that's when I think we saw the spinners really come into their own.
Amelia Kerr, 4 wickets for only 26 runs.
Wow.
Just incredible with her run-ins.
Kerr was incredible.
Yeah.
I thought she just bowled with such a great mix of guile and accuracy.
Yeah.
The Aussies knew those wrong-uns were coming, but
Yeah.
they just couldn't read her. It was a masterclass in spin bowling.
And then you have Brooke Halliday coming in for 2 overs.
Oh, yeah.
And completely unexpected, I think, from everyone.
Yeah, what a surprise package she was.
Yeah.
Because no one really expected her to come in and bowl the way she did.
Right.
And she mixed it up beautifully.
Yeah.
She went from off-spin to medium pace, even threw in some loopy full tosses there that just completely flummoxed the Aussie batters.
Yeah, I think the commentators were even surprised.
They were. I don't think anyone had really seen her bowl like that before.
Right.
And that's what made it so effective, because she kept the Aussies guessing.
Yeah.
And that is incredibly difficult to do against such an experienced batting lineup.
It really is. But even with that amazing performance, chasing 148 on that pitch was a huge ask for New Zealand.
It was a monumental task.
Yeah.
And you got to remember as well, they were coming off a dominant win against India, but that was on a very different surface in Dubai. So they really needed to adapt quickly if they wanted to chase down this target.
And adapting to different conditions is what separates the good teams from the great teams. And I think that's a big part of
Sure.
why we see Australia dominating.
That's
They
it.
can play on any surface.
Yeah, and they forced the other team to play on their terms as well.
Exactly.
Like you said, New Zealand had found success on that more batting-friendly pitch against India.
Right.
But Australia brought them right back down to earth in this game, saying, no, you're playing on our terms, and they had an answer for everything.
They really did. And it felt like for a moment, New Zealand might pull off something special.
Okay.
There was that controversial not out decision involving Figa Litchfield.
Yes, the Litchfield
But
way.
went to the third umpire.
Yeah, it was a tough call, I think, even with the third umpire review.
Right.
It was so close Those are the kind of moments in a game that can really swing the momentum.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think Australia, throughout this tournament, consistently, those little 50-50 moments seem to
Mm.
go their way.
It's like they have that aura about them.
Yeah, that's the mark of a champion, though, isn't it?
Right.
It's not just luck. It's putting yourself in the position to capitalize when those moments come up.
And when they lose a key player like Sophie Devine early on,
Huge loss.
that's got to be a massive blow.
It's massive because you take out Sophie Devine, you take out arguably the heart and soul of that New Zealand batting lineup.
Yeah.
She's a match winner.
Yeah.
And getting her out early, I think, really allowed Australia to put the squeeze on the rest of the batting order, and I don't think they ever really recovered.
Yeah, they really struggled to regain that momentum. And of course, we have to talk about
Yeah.
Megan Shutt in this match.
Legend.
Breaking the record, becoming the highest wicket taker in women's T20 World Cup history.
On such a big stage as well.
I know.
It just shows you her temperament, her consistency.
It seems like the bigger the stage, the better she performs.
She thrives under pressure.
Yeah.
And she stood up when it mattered most, and that's what I was saying before about Australia creating those opportunities for themselves.
Right.
They don't just have one or two match winners. They have them in every single department, batting, bowling, fielding.
They're relentless.
They are. They really are, and their record speaks for itself.
This win makes 13 consecutive victories in women's T20 World Cups.
That's insane. That's unheard of, really.
So the question on everyone's mind
Yeah,
is, can anyone stop them?
that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Can anyone challenge Australia at this level?
I mean, they're beatable on paper,
Okay.
right? Every team has their weaknesses. Australia's no exception to that.
Yeah.
I think what it's going to take is for a team to really identify what those weaknesses are and exploit them and do it at the right time.
Which is easier said than done.
Much easier said than done.
Right.
But look, it's the beauty of a tournament like this is that anything can happen. All it takes is one bad day, one moment of brilliance from the opposition, and suddenly we've got a completely different narrative.
For sure. So much easier said than done. What would you say to the teams that are going to face Australia for the rest of the tournament?
Yeah, well, everyone's asking, how do you beat them? And it's not just about matching their skill.
Right.
It's about matching their mentality.
Yeah.
Their ability to adapt. Because you look at those pitch conditions.
Like slower pitches we talked about.
Exactly. Spin friendly. And, Australia showed us they can win on any surface. They're masters of adaptation.
Right.
So other teams can't just rely on one style of play. You've got to be versatile, unpredictable.
They almost need to use Australia's playbook against them.
Yeah, you've got to be able to counter their strengths while also playing your own game.
Right.
It's a tough ask, but that's what makes it so interesting, right?
It'll be so interesting to see how other teams respond. Do you think they try to match Australia's aggression, or do they try to find a different path to victory?
That's the beauty of sport, isn't it? There's so many different ways to win, but one thing's for sure, Australia has set the bar incredibly high.
They really have.
They've thrown down the gauntlet.
Yeah.
And now the rest of the world has to figure out how to respond.
Yeah, it's a chess match. Now everyone's trying to find that weakness, that chink in the armor. Is there one?
Well, I mean, they're human. Of course they have weaknesses.
Right.
The question is, can anyone exploit them before it's too late? Can they find that perfect game plan, make the impossible possible? That's what makes this tournament so exciting.
So we had this one match that really was a statement from Australia.
A real declaration of intent, I think.
Exactly. And it was almost like a wake-up call for every other team in the tournament.
Without a doubt.
The chase is on.
And what a chase it promises to be. This World Cup is just getting started. And if this match was anything to go by, we are in for a real treat.
I can't wait to see what happens. Thanks for breaking it down with me.
Pleasure as always.
And to everyone listening, we'll be back next week with another deep dive.